Oh, no, hang on a minute. My fault entirely. I'm a stupid idiot, Mike. There you are.
What's the matter?
Oh, I forgot to put you in the correct position to go on the air. You could have yelled down your phone from now until the end of time, and nobody would have heard a single word that you said. But fortunately, now you're here. It's like a miracle.
Right, you were talking earlier on about the ERG and the NRG, the research groups. Mm-hmm. And there's a CRG, the Sino-Skeptical Research Group. Well, here they're all headed by idiots. Mark Francois, the chair of the ERG. Ian Duncan Smith, or Ian middle name Smith, whatever, was part of the Sino-Skeptic Research Group. Yeah. And Jake Berry's the head of the other one. But they've all got secretaries and they've all got treasurers. Did you know where they get their funds from for all their hospitality and trips around Europe?
Well, let me guess. It's from us?
It's from us dopes, yes. They are allowed to charge it to the Parliamentary funding pool.
Yeah, ain't that great?
It's us lot that are paying. So that made me think a bit, because what's happening is they're getting handouts from us.
Yeah, and on top of that, we're not allowed to know who they are. Their membership list is secret. Did you see that thing with Sweller Braverman, who is actually the top legal mind in the country? If you can believe that. Did you hear when she did that interview with Channel 4, which is probably one of the reasons that Channel 4 is going to get put out of business by the caring, sharing government. They're nothing if not vindictive. And what's his name out of the Channel 4 News? You kept asking her, well, who's in this little club of yours? And she absolutely flat out refused to say, even though we pay for them.
Yeah, and she refused to earn up to the funding. How much was it costing? She wouldn't give any information away whatsoever.
We are being taken for such mugs.
But as I say, damn, it's all right for them to get handouts from us, but then this Truss is saying that poor, hungry, cold pensioners can't get handouts. I mean, it's where are we?
And it just seems pretty sinister to me. I mean, all of the names they choose, it's almost like they're goading us. The European Research Group, which is anti-European, which makes you think the Northern Research Group, what have they got in store for the good people in Newcastle?
Yeah, it's the thing is that if they have to have certain criteria to get public funding. So they can't have a coffee club or whatever. But if it's a research group, no, they can't have a sort of, I don't know, Westminster coffee club. That wouldn't work. But if they put research in it, they can then get funding for all their hospitality. So when they hold meetings, they can bring the suitcase of wine in on us. And if they want to go down to Spain to see how northern Spain works, they can do that on us. It's incredible.
It really is, yeah.
I don't mind paying some taxes, but I absolutely detest my money funding these research groups.
Yeah, well, I don't mind paying taxes either. Countries with happier people tend to charge their citizens more in tax, but then the government is actually interested in acting on the interests of the people rather than themselves. And they provide good services that people rely on that make them happier people. That's why the perfect countries like Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Netherlands, it's always the same ones, over and over again, they charge more in tax, but the governments of those countries use that tax to create safety nets, to create good healthcare, to create good care systems for people that need it, to create good welfare systems, and so on and so on. Whereas what this lot do, I've got no idea what they do with our tax money. I mean, it's the amount of tax that we paid has gone through the roof. What do they do with it that actually benefits us poor dopes?
And how do poor people feel this winter? Do they feel that there's a net that's going to catch them, or a warm duvet that they're going to be able to settle on? Not at all. We're scared to bloody death.
Yeah, well, it seems like less like an accident, more like the plan. Keep people permanently on the edge of disaster, by which method you will keep them more controllable. No one's going to ask for a pay rise if they feel they're going to get sacked.
I think that may well change, but anyway.
Yeah.
All right, thanks very much.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
No one's going to ask for a pay rise if they fear they're going to be put in prison. You know, these activist union barons and all of that. Oh. It really is astonishing what's happening. So Fishy Sunak is trying to woo the old bores by prop up the bar at the golf club, the Conservative Party members, by telling them what they want to hear. He's competing with the blunder Truss. And what he thinks they want to hear is that every person in receipt of a state benefit is a dirty, crooked, layabout scrounger. I mean, they lap this sort of stuff up. It's as old as the hills, but certain types never get tired of thinking it. It's those people below you on the ladder are pulling you down, whereas it's actually the people above you on the ladder who are pushing you down. But people don't want to hear that, though. People like an identifiable group to demonise and blame for whatever failings they think they have in life. You know, if only it wasn't for the Ramonas, then Brexit would be an absolute dream. Or if only it wasn't for all these benefit claimants, I'd be rich, they think. But what Fishy failed to say was that about 40% of the people on universal credit are actually in work. Over half of the people in poverty in this country are part of a working family. It's just that they're paid so little that they can't make ends meet. That's the government's high-wage economy that we've heard so much about. And when those people do actually ask for a wage rise, the answer is that they can't have one, because that would cause inflation. Oh, right. But that can't be true, because we already have inflation, and those people are still on the same money. And when they get together in a union and strike for more pay, suddenly the government label them as activist lefty Marxists under the sway of the union barons. And they want to put them all in jail. I mean, you literally can't have it either way with this lot. But that's the future of the Tory campaign for the general election next time round. It's not just what they're doing at the moment in order to win the top job from the golf club bores. This is what they're going to be selling themselves on at the next general election. Phony culture wars about unisex toilets and slave trader statues and blaming the poor for being poor. And I bet the poor will vote overwhelmingly Conservative, just like they did the last time. Some people you just can't reach. You know, what appears to be causing inflation this time round is that I ain't no economist. Like you know who, I don't know anything.
I don't know anything.
But what seems to me is that what's causing inflation this time around is a few things. The leftover shock of COVID, profiteering by the energy giants, Vlad the Insaner, and 12 years of fiscal rectitude courtesy of the Conservative Party, who act like none of what's happening now has anything to do with them, like they all just woke up from a coma. But you're not allowed to blame any of that, especially not the Conservative Party part, or the one about profiteering fuel companies. So it's all down to the cleaners on the railways asking, "Please, sir, may I have some more?"
No, 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 no.
That comes the stern response. And Fishy Sunak actually said that the problem is that there are far more healthy people on benefits than there are job vacancies. Really?
Liar!
No, there aren't. That has the impediment of not being true. More people healthy people on benefits than there are job vacancies, says Fishy Sunak. You know, the bone-idle layabouts who lounge around all day in luxury, smoking a cheroot and watching daytime television.
Want to score some pot?
Those people, all paid for by hard-working people. And I don't know what they teach bankers these days. I mean, you'd think they'd be good with numbers, but there are 1.3 million job vacancies in this country and about 250,000 people on job seekers allowance. 1.3 million job vacancies, 250,000 job seekers. 1.3 million is a bigger number than 250,000. Rishi Sunak. Mr. Moneyman. Captain Numbers. And of course of all those job vacancies, the 1.3 million job vacancies, of course, is the saintly thing that we cannot name in criticism. It's Brexit. It's because we yelled at people to get out of our country And they did, which was very unpatriotic of them. Don't they love our country? All we had to do was to scream at them for 5 years to get out, and they did. And now someone who needs a job, of course, has options. And we still don't want to do all those jobs that we relied on Eastern Europeans to do, which is why the food is rotting in the fields and why restaurants can't get the staff. So that's Fish's little scheme to try and get the Boers on side by demonising the poor and blaming them for the poverty that has been visited upon them and cemented in place by 12 years of Tory rule. 12 years of transferring the wealth from the masses to the rich, and which is about to get worse because they plan to restrict our ability to actually protest any of that or to withdraw our labour, keeping people permanently on the edge of financial ruin where they are easily controlled. Essentially blaming the ordinary Briton for what has been done to them because the regime takes great umbrage when accused of causing any of the problems that they are responsible for. They'll lash out. Don't you worry about that. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. So that's Fish's take on things. That's what he's offering. I'll get into what Liz Truss's position is in a minute. James says, apropos of nothing, there are no hosepipe bans in Belgium. Lee says, but there may not be any hosepipe bans in Belgium, but on the other hand, they do put mayonnaise on chips.
Disgusting.
I mean, that's just weird. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Hello.
0345 6060 973. Sue emails. And I do believe that this is the last message from last night. So I've only got 13 pages of messages that have already come in for tonight. And it's only taken me an hour and 50 minutes to do it. Sue says, I always thought Dominic Dekche-Robb would go for the PM's job. What, the angular tetchy humanoid, you mean? Perhaps he thinks, says Sue, that things are too challenging at the moment and prefers to sit and watch from his deck chair, biding his time until things have calmed down a bit. No doubt pondering whether there are any more human rights laws to get rid of in the meantime. Well, he's going to have to hurry because I think between Fishy and Lizzie, there ain't going to be many of those left anytime soon. And from tonight, Archie says, at the end of last night's shift, you accepted a challenge to find a solution to a problem and uttered the words, leave it with me. This event set an explicit precedent. You accepted homework, which is excellent because I have so much research I need you to do for me. Yeah, leave it with me, Archie. I'll have it on your desk first thing in the morning. And the research too. Here is, let's see, who's been waiting the longest? Bournemouth. John.
Hello.
Yes, John.
I want to say something a bit controversial for you.
Okay.
You say that this country is not doing well, and I agree that the people are having economic problems. But when you're out in the street and so forth, there's still lots of people in the pubs, restaurants. I was out today in the Bournemouth, and they're all still out dancing.
Wow. People aren't all dead yet? Is that what you're saying?
They're all drinking, and they're all all of the restaurants are overfull, all of this.
Right, so they're not all sitting in the dark in their cold and damp hovels with their heads in their hands, moaning piteously to themselves. So everything's fine. Is that your position?
I think one of the you people's Corbyn supporters.
I'm not.
I think you had a point because we went too far to the right in this country.
Went, as in past tense.
But I also think the problem is that this country has got enough people who are quite rich. So your sort of nationalised energy and all of this, which I think you were correct about, a long time ago, but I apologise because
Okay.
in the past I used to think that he was wrong on these points.
Right.
But overall, it doesn't seem like the country, the shopping, they're all out in the skirts and everything, the ladies,
so you
they're
say.
wearing they're
wearing
the
clothes
skirts.
and all sorts, yeah.
But no, you're making the fun of this. I'm not saying they should not wear the clothes, although the way some of them are going, it's hard to tell. But you can't speak freely in these countries.
You can't what?
You can't speak freely in these countries.
Well, it sounds like you're speaking freely to me.
Oh, I can't say the main things I want to say because immediately you're accused of being homophobic, misogyny, all of this. You have
Right.
to.
What's homophobia got to do with what you're talking about? You want to wheedle that into the conversation? A bit of light homophobia and racism and sexism? Is that absolutely necessary, John? Even if it's off topic, you just can't help yourself? Tom texts, we need to turn one of the channel tunnels into a water main coming towards Britain and the other tunnel into a sewage main heading towards France. That'll teach the EU. Would you like to run off what, Tom? Can you start first thing Monday? Archie texts at the end. Oh, no, I read that. Greg says, you mentioned last night the interview with Bodger Johnson when he talked about his hobby of making buses out of wine boxes. The reason is the same as the one with the cheese in the fridge. Cheese in the fridge. It's hiding the bad news and overwriting them with crazy but less bad news. In other words, to hack Google. By doing this, you can hide older, more damaging Google search results and replace them with crazy but less harmful ones. I wouldn't put it past him at all. That sounds like a plan, actually. That sounds exactly like something that they would do. Gordon says, I am so used to listening to your show that I have begun to hallucinate the oh hello voice after the LBC sting on other programmes. Yeah, well, that would be alarming.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, you don't want to hear that many times a week.
Oh, hello.
In fact, that would be a good phone tone to have, wouldn't it? Your ringtone. You'd get some looks.
Oh, hello.
Call coming in. Carson City. NV. Where's that? New NV. Carson City. New Orleans. No. NV. North Virginia. Is that right, Jonathan?
No, it's Nevada, Nick.
Nevada. Right. That's the correct answer. Nevada.
Yes. Yes, I do know where I live, Nick. I know it's surprising.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks, Nick. Before I say anything, I just want to say that thank you so much for being a true British patriot and speaking out truth to power. You and James are one of the few.
Just as long as you don't tell me that I'm keeping you sane. Just as long as you don't say that.
No, I'm bonkers anyway,
right,
so
okay.
It doesn't really matter, Nick.
Bonkers on the phone.
So,
What's pretty bizarre is you must be talking to me on a landline.
no, I'm talking to you on Skype from Nevada.
Wow. Well, it sounds like you're in the room.
Yep.
That's bizarre. Because Nevada's
I
very,
do
very
a lot
long way away. That's like 5,000 miles away.
It is, but I'm a media personality. I do a number of podcasts.
Oh,
myself,
okay then.
So.
Right.
So,
Hey, Nevada is running out of water. I hate to break the bad news to you, but all that snow that used to form on the Sierra
mountains, yes.
Yeah, the Sierra mountain range. All that snow is not falling anymore, and all of the water that you enjoy, that fresh, delicious water that you enjoy in Nevada, it came from that snow. And so when it's gone, you'll miss it. You'll miss it when it's gone.
Yes, we're all doomed,
Yeah,
Nick.
you actually are.
Yes. I was ringing up because I don't want to
bring us down.
People.
Yeah, but it's too late.
No, not really. Yeah. But I really do feel that people really don't understand what Britain is facing in the next 18 months, 2 years.
Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think.
And what's concerning is that it's not quite there because you haven't got the street muscle, but in some ways it's very similar to Italian fascism, where big corporate power is linked to political power.
Don't feel too smug about it, Jonathan. You are 5,000 miles away, but what happens here is also happening in America, because the political parties on both sides of the pond are being funded by the same people.
Oh, yeah, but that's been the case for a very long time. But what you're seeing in Britain is the solidification of large business with political, but the only thing that's missing, which I feel you're going to see in the next couple of years, is a kind of the return of a kind of Mosley type party and fascist muscle on the street.
Well, there's something to look forward to. It'll be like PE class or calisthenics.
What we need, and unfortunately Stemmer, he's not a terrible leader, but he's not fit for job. We need more of a street fighter type. We need somebody who's a bit of a bruiser, and he's not that.
Right, we need a hero.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Is he doing anything at the moment? Ship him over.
I don't know, but that's what, in my opinion, we need somebody in the opposition that's a bit of a bruiser, really.
Right.
We need a bit of a street fighter type, because we've got the fight of our life.
All of the muscle on the streets. Yeah, I get it. Here, cheer up, Jonathan. It might never happen. Oh no, that's right. It already has. Okay. I appreciate the call. I appreciate the concern.
Yeah, there was a bit of a downer, wasn't it?
It was a little bit of a downer. Yeah, you don't want to depress people, but too late. Yeah, never mind.
Well,
and that word again, solidifization. Solidifization. Can you spell that for us? Oh, never mind. Excellent work there, Jonathan. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Ted says, stopped clocks are correct twice a day. Please leave the Chancellor big game safari on holiday. Otherwise, he may threaten to use a pen, and then that's Christmas cancelled. Does that make any sense?
No.
But, weirdly, it fits right in. And that was a text about what's gone on this show tonight. I should listen to this show more because, actually, I should listen to it while I'm doing it because, some things might actually make sense to me. So far, not much. 0345 6060 973. So I've gone over what Fish's plan to woo the boars at the golf club is, which is basically to blame everything on the poor. Amazing, really. Yeah, it's the poor's fault for being stupid enough to get born to poor parents. I mean, they had the choice, but they chose to be born to poor parents. Curious. So I'll talk about the Truss bot and what her little scheme is in a minute. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
Shut up. Think you're talking to?
Myself, mostly myself. Most of the time, I'm talking to myself. Kath texts, Sunak claims he never went on holiday when he was a Chancellor. I guess it doesn't technically count as a holiday when you're a billionaire and you've got houses all over the world. He really is a down-to-earth man of the people. I fear Truss, though, would be worse. Yeah, I feel that's true, too. As awful as Fishy Sunak is, and I don't really believe this act that he's putting on, because he started out as with the bloke from the Grattan catalogue with the puppy dog eyes and the cashmere hoodie. That's who he is, Mr. Comfortable Shoes. But he's trying to be, all law and order, and I don't reckon that's who he is. But that's what the boars at the golf club want to hear. They want to hear about poor people getting lashed. just as long as it's no one that they know, and specifically not them. Everybody else, layabouts. Bleat on about layabouts as they spend 4 hours on a Wednesday trudging around a golf course and then repair to the bar, start drinking at 4 o'clock. Yeah, these layabouts, they don't do anything. Painful. But, as bad as Sunak is turning out to be, I do believe that Liz Truss will actually be worse.
That is a disgrace.
Thomas says, I agree with you regarding MRIs. I had one on Thursday. They sound great. I almost fell asleep. They're so relaxing. Yeah, I find them really relaxing too, which is really odd because they're very loud. I mean, you wouldn't want one above you in the flat above, would you? You know, if somebody installed a clinic in the flat above you, you would not want to live in the same building as an MRI machine. But getting stuck in one... It's, I do quite enjoy the experience. Weird. It's bizarre. Here is Lambeth. Hello, Tony. An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes, Tony.
Hello. I'm very pleased to talk to you. Your show lightens me.
It's the light of your life. Yeah.
It is. The only thing I was going to say is quite a depressing thing I was going to say is that do you think we're heading for like a totalitarian Orwellian state?
Heading for?
or they've got it already in place.
Yeah, that was the last. That was the last stop. You should have got off there.
And so where do I go? I can't immigrate because of Brexit. I'm stuck. So can you give me a suggestion? How do I?
Yeah, my suggestion to you, Tony, is get out of Lambeth. That's the best suggestion I can offer you at the moment.
Well, actually, I don't live in Lambeth. They just me that. I live in a worse borough than Lambeth. I think you've mentioned it.
A worse borough than Lambeth?
A lot worse.
Wow,
a lot worse.
Really?
It's in North London, and it is despicable.
Is it? Well, we're talking about Islington then, no doubt.
No, that's a golden age. That's to the golden palace compared to where I live.
Is it? Wow. So we must be talking about Tower Hamlets.
No.
What?
No, it's worse than that.
There is impossible.
I'll tell you what they've done. The council, they've built houses in the park, and they're selling off forests to turn them into AstroTurf football pitches.
Yeah. No. They're not doing that.
They've already built the houses.
In a park?
Of them.
In a park?
Yes. Seriously.
In a park?
And
where?
In a park.
Where are they doing this?
Trent Park.
Where's that?
Enfield.
Enfield?
Yeah, Trent Park, Enfield, near Oakwood Station. They've built the houses and the flats, and now White Webs is going to be the area, the forest, and is going to be converted over to AstroTurf.
Oh, Tony, it'll be beautiful.
And how they got away with it, they sell it as a lease. So they sell it to, and the person that's bought it is
let's not get into any of that, because I've got no idea either where you're talking about or what you're talking about. But let's assume that it is all above board and completely awful in every degree.
Exactly.
Right. Go on. Or is that it?
No, I was just going to say that it's all. I think sadly in this country that all. I know it's a horrible cliche to say. I think all politicians are the same. They only think about their bank balance.
No. That is the kind of talk that makes people not vote. Everybody must vote.
I will vote Labour.
Must vote.
I will vote Labour. I've always been a Labour supporter. But whether I think you're right, I don't think if they don't get their act together, I think we're going to get another Conservative government, and then they're going to privatise the health service, and then we'll be into real big trouble.
Well, they're going to privatise the voting booth.
Yeah, you have to pay.
Yeah.
You have to pay to vote.
Yeah, there's going to be one voting booth, and it's going to be in Tunbridge Wells. Everybody has to go to Tunbridge Wells. If you can't get there, then they'll automatically just put you down as a Conservative supporter. That's democracy, that is.
But it's what they think of democracy. It's their form of democracy now. And I agree with you that they're probably going to postpone the next election on some ground of some either economic tragedy or the economic problems around the world.
Just think, what would Donald Trump do? And that is what they'll do, principally because both parties are funded by the same people. The same few people, like about a handful of people who fund both parties. What would Donald Trump do?
I've been successful in every business I've been in.
He'd lie his face off about his success for a start, and then he'd do anything he can, anything in his power, his considerable power, to make absolutely sure that he clings on to the reins of control. Now, it slipped out of his hands the last time around, but he ain't going to make that mistake no more.
No, I was surprised the amount of people that I kind of associate with, that they think Donald Trump's really good, being a good president. And I can't believe them.
Tony,
I can't believe. I'll tell you why.
Yeah, Tony, we're surrounded by morons. Don't forget. Don't forget that. Always keep that in mind. That is my best suggestion to you. Ain't that right, Gav? I rest my case. Thanks a lot, Tony. Paul tweets, militant, in inverted commas, is people who bring our entire national railways and tube network to a halt for days on end. So it's an appropriate use of the word in that situation. Okay. I don't think it is. It implies that they are militant without cause, without reason, that they would always be militant regardless of the circumstances. It's not. They're not militant. They're desperate. Desperate would be a better word. Richard tweets, message for Liz Truss and Professor Mad Minford. Who's that? Oh, right. Total UK debt is just below £2.4 trillion. The cost of servicing that debt is rising because of rising global interest rates. Where will you find the billions you promise, says Richard. Pat tweets, against my will, I think the increasingly doolally hard right-wingery from the boggle-eyed PM candidates might be rubbing off on me. Any minute now, I will robustly get hold of this militant can of lager, pop its lid and glug some sense into it. Good work, Pat. Keep it up.
Booze.
David says, you are on fire tonight. Quick, what's the number for 999? Let's have colour coats. Brian.
Hiya, Nick. Did I hear that right, that Liz Truss called Nicola Sturgeon a attention seeker?
Yes, I believe that's what she said.
That is fighting talk in Scotland. I want to see the First Minister, Nicola Sturgeon, take on Liz Truss if she comes as Prime Minister in a mud wrestling match. And I think Nicola Sturgeon will floor Liz Truss. Yeah. That's the first thing.
Two falls or a submission. What was the old wrestling thing? Was it falls?
Oh,
2 falls and a submission?
Yeah.
It was something and a submission. I can't remember.
I reckon Nicola Sturgeon would win. Nicola Sturgeon would win anyway because she's tougher.
Get Giant Haystacks on the phone. He'll explain it to us.
Absolutely. And the other point is the golf club, the golfing brigade, will probably not vote for Sunak to become the Prime Minister. He comes from a country where they have the untouchables, and he treats the working class like the untouchables. So I don't want him in power, do I?
Right. Suddenly something happened to your phone there, Brian. I think you're probably being listened to right now. I would close the curtains and don't answer the door for anybody. Thanks a lot, mate. Pack a bag, you're on your way to Rwanda. Marion says, guess what Liz Bott's daughters are named? Frances and Liberty. You couldn't make it up. Also, read somewhere Liz is quite dictatorial over them using social media. Old bossy boots, true to form. Keep on keeping me sane, says Marion. Barbara says, interesting that politicians used to worry that the public didn't trust them. Now it's a normalised position and accepted by default. Yeah, and you know whose fault that is? It must be our fault. Because it can't be anything that they did. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
How many more pages of this have we got? 12. OK. Michael says, in the past 2 months, I've had the misfortune to spend a bit of time around the Donald. I can confirm firsthand that he is not a nice person.
Donald Trump is not a nice person.
Not a nice person. Unless you ask him directly, in which case you'll say...
Donald Trump is a very nice person.
Is a very nice person. What do you think, Melania?
I don't care.
She's actually not bothered one way or the other. I understand her position. Gerald texts, I thought Fishy Rishi was a snake. He's not. Apparently he's a lizard. He put his tongue out when asked a tough question. Is that a fact? He does those puppy dog eyes when he's asked a tough question. Like, why are you picking on me? That. Painful. Paul tweets, the French government... You know the French government? No! Yes, that's them. The French government have just announced that they will be freezing energy prices at 4% for electricity and 0% for gas for 2023. We purchase 2 times 6 kilogram Butagaz per year at €21 each for cooking. What's wrong with the Tories? It's not difficult to care for the poor. Well, I've got no idea what's a Butagaz. But that does seem like good value to get 2 times 6 kilogram Butagaz. I don't no idea what Butagaz is. But I'm delighted to hear that you can get 2 times 6 kilograms of it for €21. Yeah, that's true, by the way. Our energy bills have gone up 400%. The French's energy bills have gone up 4%.
What?
4. Not 400, 4. And by the way, you know where the profits of the energy companies that are going to be giving you a bill, you know where the profits go? Much of it goes to France, who own our energy companies, because we were stupid enough to sell them off. What kind of a country sells off its electricity and gas? It's just amazing. It's not a government, it's a smash and grab raid. Has been forever. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. There really isn't anything left for them to sell off. I mean, they're kind of fresh out of ideas. What else can we get a quick, short-term profit for ourselves and the donor class? Because I don't know about you, but I ain't seen no benefit from the privatisation of the things that we rely on. Have you? I mean, how's the privatisation of the water going, by the way? They waste about a quarter to a third of all the water in the pipes. They just chuck it away. Why? Because it costs a lot of money to fix. And they would prefer to spend all that money on themselves. Themselves. Oh, well, who wouldn't? You know, that's the benefit of capitalism in the raw. That's the market. Not a government. It's a smash and grab raid. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we are doing a radio show, but it does remind me that I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin.
Oh, right, yeah.
Now, I'll just do a brief reminder, because I have mentioned this before on this show. I do a podcast with Carol McGiffin. The idea is that we solve people's problems. Now, we do laugh a lot while we're doing it, and I must admit we're not particularly good at solving problems, but we do give it our best. Leave us alone. We're doing our best. The podcast is called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol.
Oh, right, yeah.
And you can find it on an internet near you if only you ask for it by name. It's on Global Player, which you should have in your life. It's available from Apple or Android, your favourite app store. Stick it up your device, Global Player, and ask for it by name on an internet near you. What's your problem with Nick and Carol? If you want us to have a go at your issue, nickandcarol@global.com. That's the email. nickandcarol@global.com. And we're taping tomorrow, so if you've got something that you need solving, a problem, then get it to us straight away, if not sooner. nickandcarol@global.com. nickandcarol @global.com. And gird yourself for satisfaction. Here is call in Bodmin. Malcolm. Oh, Malcolm. Too late. Carlisle. Harry.
Good morning, Nick. How are you? You all right?
I'm great, mate.
Good. So I just want to talk about the leadership debate and the total parallel from reality. Sorry, a bit depressing, but the total parallel from reality. The issues that we're facing just completely, it's completely different now. Not talking about it. I feel as though we're playing some kind of political game, and it's been going on a while now. The press gets involved. The senior MPs and ministers get involved as well. And we're talking about, transgender issues and
wokery. We're talking
really
about wokery, yeah.
Exactly.
They're trying to make you angry.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. So, they're talking about immigration and everything like that. And the things that are the number one issue, obviously, for the country at the minute is the economic crisis going on. And obviously, we're going to have a recession all for the end of this year, all of next year. And why aren't they sitting down and talking to the press, which will then get passed on to the public and saying, listen, we know it's going to be hard. Mm-hmm. Here's what we can do. The Chancellor's on holiday, the Prime Minister's on holiday. Yeah. It's like we've got an absent government. And, the real thing that the press aren't covering it enough, the people sitting at home now not understanding what is coming in October and again next year, the people totally oblivious to what is going to happen.
I don't think people are. I think they're trying to blot it out of their minds, because what can they do about it? It's like a train coming at you and you're tied to the track.
It's very difficult. I mean, the people that I talk to, up in Carlisle, they understand it. A lot of people do understand it's coming, but they say, what can we do? And of course, it's a balancing act between, keeping sound money in the economy. Sorry,
oh, please! As though that's their concern. Sound economic guidance from the party that has been in power for the last 12 years. Look at the state of the place.
I absolutely, totally agree with you. I'm a moderate Labour supporter, and I totally agree. And I think that and also, sorry, there's someone on before. I think it's called John, saying, we need a bit of a bruiser in opposition. And I completely I couldn't disagree with it more. We have got Boris Johnson as a brute. We've got loud talking politicians with absolutely zero substance. And one thing that I like about Keir Starmer is he's very calm, very polite, very respectful, and people say he's got no charisma, but it's because he's talking about substance and policy.
Is he though?
He's not screaming and shouting.
I agree with you about the presentational aspect. That it might be nice to have normal for a while. Somebody who isn't a clown with funny hair.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm not sure that Keir Starmer is actually talking about policy, and because I off the top of my head, I can't name three things that he stands for. Could you? Well, what would he do if he got in?
Well, this is. I believe that he's tried. I don't think he's doing enough. I think that he's tried to change the Labour Party to what he wants it to be and what he thinks it should be, and what many of us think it should be.
Well, there's great resistance in the Labour Party to that, because they are addicted to losing. They will fashion some way of losing. They will pull a disaster from the jaws of success. They will.
Of course. And the thing, what he should be doing right now is he should be standing aside, observing the Tory party. He should just have to say, look at what they're doing. Look at the mess they're creating. They're absolutely tearing themselves apart. And he should try and.
Well, that's precisely what he is trying to do, but his party is not going to let him do it, because they're going to join picket lines when he told them not to join picket lines, and they're going to do media rounds when he told them not to do media rounds, and they're going to brief against him. They're going to tell people that he's weak and he's got no policies and he's not really Labour, he's like another Tory and they're all the same and all this sort of stuff. The Labour Party will fashion a way to lose against this comedy catastrophic clown show that we got going on in governance at the moment. It's incredible that they could lose. It's amazing that they aren't streets ahead. How are they not on double the voting intention polling than they are at the moment? Amazing. They will find a way to lose because that's the thing that they love the most. Whining victimhood. Actually, that's what the Tories like the most as well, whining victimhood. It's just a different kind. They win and they still whine that they're being picked on. Oh, why is everybody picking on me? Why all these poor people picking on me? But it's the other way around for the Labour Party. They just love, they're stewing in that in that delicious failure. Love it. Anyway, Harry, I've got to go, but thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. I haven't got around to what Liz Truss is offering yet. It is kind of alarming. I mean, as awful as fishy is becoming, and it seems like worse by the day, because everything that he's trying isn't working, so he's just like doubling down. Oh, okay, well, you didn't like me being awful to minorities yesterday? Oh, okay, how about this? I'm going to be really awful to them today. See if that moves the dial. And I don't believe that's him. I mean, he might not be a very nice person, but I don't believe he is the person that he's actually projecting at the moment. Trying a little bit too hard to be Mr. Tough Guy. Doesn't suit him very well, any more than his suits do. You know, because look at me, I am a dedicated follower of fashion. Nick emails, about a month before Boris resigned, my 12-year-old was given an assignment to write a speech for a class, but he could choose the subject. Completely unprompted, he picked Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is a liar.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
The 12-year-old, unprompted, picked Boris Johnson is a liar to write a speech for his class and started his research on that subject. There was no end of material to pick from. His classmates found the speech very amusing. His teacher, not so much. Maybe there's hope for the youth yet. Well, fingers crossed. Thanks a lot, Nick. Phil emails, concerning Bodger's latest video at his wedding party, I don't know what you thought, but I think he looks like Wurzel Gummidge on drugs. Wurzel Gummidge on drugs.
Want to score some pot?
Well, to me, it looked like he was directing traffic. Or he had a ferret in his suit and he was trying to shake it out. Or he was having a seizure. I mean, I really don't know. Should we be dialing 999 right now? Has his face fallen on one side? Terrible. I mean, just shocking. I bet refreshments were involved.
Booze.
Yeah, cases full of it. Ellie emails, I keep getting a vision of the alien Madame in Mars Attacks every time I'm unfortunate enough to see the visage of the woman. I'm quite sure she is unhinged. God help us, says Ellie. Yeah, God is not going to help you.
That is a disgrace.
Yeah, and Liz Truss is going to be all over that. Don't you worry about that. God's going to find himself deported to Rwanda straight away. Michael texts, is my number blocked at LBC? My texts never get read on air on any show. Yeah, hey, Michael.
Stop whining.
Chris says, I'm a black cab driver and I just had to tell you about the job I just had. A guy just flagged me and got in, followed by a dog. I normally say keep the dog off the seat, but it sat on the floor, so I didn't say anything to the guy. The passenger wanted Pimlico, so off we went. When we arrived, he paid the fare and got out and left the dog in the back. As he walked away, I called out, don't forget your dog, to which he replied, that's not my dog. He got in when I opened the door. He says, sometimes I think I'm on a hidden camera show with the job. So now what do I do with the dog? I don't know. Ask if it wants to run the country. Because nobody else is doing that at the moment. Hey, Bodge? It's worth a shot. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 12:30. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
A big sack of monkey nuts.
That's what we're dealing with here. A big sack of monkey nuts. So I told you about Fishy's little scheme to try to get the Boers on side by demonising the poor, blaming the poor for the poverty that they're suffering with. Meanwhile, Liz Truss is engaging in her own blame game and has accused the Bank of England for taking Britain into a recession. You know, as though her party has not been in charge of the country for the past 12 years. The actual Foreign Secretary, and probably the next actual bloomin' Prime Minister, if you can believe that, attacked the Bank of England for just pointing out the truth. That the UK would slip into negative growth at the end of this year amid the worst squeeze on living standards for more than 60 years. Blunder Truss said that by having issued a stark warning, the bank was making a recession more likely as people would constrain their spending to protect themselves from the downturn.
What?
Yeah, you couldn't make it up. We don't have any spending to constrain anymore. What planet's she living on? People can't afford to eat. And this winter they won't be able to afford to heat. What spending does she think we will cut down on? Because the governor of the Bank of England says what we all know already, that we're an economic basket case. You know, as though anyone actually attends to the Bank of England's press releases anyway. Who reads that? I bet if I went into the street with a Bank of England £10 note, I wouldn't find a single person who knows who the governor of the Bank of England is. Any takers? No, I thought not. But, you know, she can't blame herself for the problems that we are experiencing, and she can't blame his imperial bodgeness.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And she can't blame the Conservative Party, so what's left? Everybody else. Everybody else is the answer. Blame anyone else. Doesn't really matter who. I mean, there'll be another scandal along the way tomorrow, and there'll be someone different to blame for that too, and people will start yelling at them instead. And while you blame others, you can take control of those institutions and run them for the benefit of the regime. And people won't mind. In fact, they'll cheer because they've been primed to think of those institutions as the enemy. I mean, the courts, activist lawyers, judges, enemies of the people. Broadcasters telling the truth about the regime, or the truth about how our country evolved, is rewriting history. It's lefty wokeness, political correctness gone mad. So sell it off or take control. The Human Rights Act. I mean, the government once had something that they did was illegal, called illegal, and their answer was to get rid of all the rights except for rights of friends of the regime. I mean, is this sounding alarm bells at the moment? Because it blooming well should. And it's not just the Fishy and Lizzie show. I mean, they're all at it. Crazy Kwarteng, a Truss fan, accused the Bank of England of allowing inflation to spiral out of control and said that a new government needed to look at how the institution was organised. I mean, never has the word organised sounded so menacing. And exactly what could the Bank of England have done to stop fuel companies, for instance, from jacking up their prices to the point where they literally boast of becoming cash machines? What could the Bank of England have done about the mountain of red tape and extra cost and difficulty in trading with Europe? What could the Bank of England done about the shortage of workers caused by the Tories' special Brexit? Just blame anyone else is the plan. And the knuckle-dragging mouth breathers will all start yelling as one, like they're circus animals trained to perform, like clapping seals. The Bank of England just told it like it is. And the Lizbot blames them for causing the thing that they're warning us about. As though some other party had been in power for the last 12 years. And we're going to get a lot of this from now on. This isn't just for the leadership race. This is how they think they're going to win the next election. And you know what? I bet they're right. Blaming others is so deliciously satisfying, ain't it? And I don't know whether you're alarmed yet, but I think it's time to look again at the famous fascism checklist, because just when we thought the baddie had been defenestrated...
Yeah. Wait a minute.
The replacement looks even worse.
Oh, no.
Actually worse. So here's that famous early warning signs of fascism poster from the American Holocaust Memorial. Let's see how many we can tick off, shall we? Isn't this fun?
No.
There's 12. Early warnings of fascism. Powerful and continuing nationalism. Oh, you bet we've got a lot of that. Anybody that's not got at least 2 flags in their windows is an enemy of the people. So, yeah, that's a big tick there. Nationalism. Disdain for human rights. Yeah. In the process of removing them as I speak. Identification of enemies as a unifying cause. Well, that would be the EU.
No!
Rampant sexism. Well, that's a no, really. But this is an old list. So I think we can replace rampant sexism with rampant anti-wokeism and a vehement dislike of caring for the less well-off, others. So, yeah, that's a yes. Controlled mass media. Yep. I mean, whichever parts of the media is not personally controlled by billionaire offshore non-dom media magnates is either in the process of being sold off or has conservative people actually running it. Obsession with national security. Not sure about it's an obsession. Religion and government intertwined. Well, kind of always has been. I mean, they got permanent seats in the House of Lords. And members of the cabinet are always banging on about how they are guided by their faith. Yeah, right. Just think, what would Jesus do? And they will do the opposite in any given circumstance, while saying that they're doing God's work. I'm not saying that they're telling mistruths, but corporate power protected. I don't think we need to dwell on that one. You betcha. Labour power suppressed.
Correct.
It's almost like it's been written this week, this list, ain't it? This is the famous early warning signs of fascism poster from the American Holocaust Memorial. Labour power suppressed. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Yeah. In fact, Fishy just said it, it was on the news just now. He said he's going to look into degrees, and if you don't get a graduate job at the end of it, that's it, it's out. Which will be all of the arts degrees. But, nothing to worry about. It's not like this country is known for its arts. It's not like tourists come here for, the music and the theatre and the galleries and the museums and all of that sort of stuff. No, I'm sure they come here to stare at the Union Jack. Pet a bulldog. 2 more. Obsession with crime and punishment. You betcha. And here's the biggie. Rampant cronyism and corruption. So, which ones are we not ticking there? obsession with national security. And that's it. Well, I don't know about you, but I think I'll decide to freak out now to save time later. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Camden. Hello, Ellie.
Oh, hi, Nick. I got through to you at last.
We're here together.
Congratulations. What is that racket? Hi, I wanted to tell you three
Racket?
things. Well, it was a very pleasant noise to some, but I didn't like it.
You didn't like this? How can anyone not like that?
Well, I didn't like it compared to what I've got to say.
Well, maybe I prefer it to what you've got to say.
Will we find out?
I guess so.
Okay. I can tell you three things that Keir Starmer has done, which have been totally neglected.
Go on.
The first thing he did was he got onto the back of the people regarding the Grenfell Towers cladding situation and all of the other companies around the world, around Britain, and the buildings where the people have been ripped off and were living in danger. And he actually managed to pull it up. And this was while he was in opposition. And the first shyster who put up dangerous cladding was prosecuted a month ago.
All right. Okay,
good.
let's not go down that road. What else?
The second one was when our dear government was supplying 2 bits of vegetables to a few school kids, still while in opposition and really not able to objectify. He managed to get thousands and thousands of school children fed during COVID. I think that's pretty good.
He did. I thought it was the Marcus Rashford who managed to do that.
He went on and on until they took it up. Just as he went on and on until they took up the windfall tax. So I would like to suggest something.
No, Marcus Rashford was the school meals thing. Keir Starmer may have jumped on his little bus there, but I think it was Marcus Rashford who was the voice there. What else have we got?
Well, I'd like to make a suggestion.
I thought you were going to give me 3. That was 2.
Well, the other one was that he went on and on and on about the windfall tax, that we should get the windfall tax from the gas companies or whoever. Okay. And eventually the Tory party took that up and got the windfall tax.
Yeah, they were shamed. They were shamed into doing the right thing, which seems to be the only way to get them to do the right thing is to shame them into it. Yeah,
absolutely. That's why they do so many U-turns. They try it on first, and if somebody kicks off, they either bring out a new law.
So, what's your suggestion?
I think we should encourage it because we're looking at total petition and freedom. So I think we should encourage Keir Starmer and say, OK, you pulled your party together relatively. You can get things done. Please present us with some policies. You can do it. You can do it.
Oh, my God, he's not a child. He's a fully grown man. Encourage him. That's not what you want from a leader. You don't want to have to encourage them like they're a 5-year-old. They should be encouraging us. That's their job. To revivify the nation with hope and to place dreams in their minds and their hearts. We encourage him. No, it's the other way round, Ellie. That's the whole point. But good work there, Ellie. And I can't believe you don't like the choir. It is the most beautiful sound. Don't make me play it again. I will if you insist, but I prefer that I didn't. Don't want to overuse it. Encourage him. Yeah, no, he encourages us. That's the deal. But good work there, Ellie. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. A little bit aggressive, I thought. Never mind. Pradeep texts, what about a one-party system? It might solve some problems. Look how well China is doing. China. Well, it's probably the kind of thing you don't want to say out loud. Because you know who might get some ideas. Bodge. Exactly. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, sir. Thank you for taking my call.
Brendan.
And I'd just like to say, I know it's Saturday, so it's a bit of crack. I don't ring up ever to speak to the great British public. I only ring up to speak to you. So I'm not trying to influence anyone or to impose my ideas, thoughts, or concepts on anyone.
Okay.
So it's just to talk to you. And the thing is, thank you very much for going to work. And I was, as Winston Churchill would say, I had a visit from the big black dog.
The big black dog?
Yeah. And I decided to just keep listening to you, and you pulled me out of it, so thank you for that. and the other thing is, right, so Wales. Let's talk.
Wales?
Wales.
Wales
is all, yes.
Are you talking about the country or the fish? Please don't call me and tell me that whales aren't fish.
Is it Wales? I'm not sure. Is it Wales the country or Wales the country?
Wales the country, yeah.
Well, okay, Wales the country. Well, the only time in my whole life I've ever heard Wales is when there's a disaster in somewhere part of the world and it's the size of Wales. You know, that's all I know about Wales. They always say, well, this is the size of Wales.
Yeah.
So I had to Google Wales to see does it actually exist, and it does. So
nobody really knows where it is. I mean, we'll certainly look it up later. But
I had to.
Yeah.
I had to. And now I'll do it very quickly because I'm genuinely very grateful to you for going to work. An earworm. I never knew what an earworm was. And I thought an earworm, when I did look it up, it must be for people with very low intelligence because they would allow something to keep repeating inside their head.
Right, I get that. I get them all the time.
Yeah, well, every 15 minutes of the last, I think it's about 6 months now that I've been listening to you. Well, I listened to you for years, but in the last 6 months or whatever, every 15 minutes when you go to the news and you say, and now it's over to, I keep hearing Zara Sullivan.
Oh.
It's just not there. So where did you go? Has she been beamed up by the Starship Enterprise? And I wish that I could get used to the new newscaster, but I can't. So Zara Sullivan is my earworm.
Right.
Last point, if that's okay.
Zara Sullivan is my earworm.
Yeah. Can I go to the last point?
Yeah, go on.
Is that okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Classic FM.
Yeah.
I never listened to Classic FM in my life.
What?
I thought it was for people who were unlike me, just put it that way.
Yeah.
But then I got a dog. After 30 years having a dog, I promised I would never get another dog. And then it did.
Right.
And
by accident?
No.
You didn't leave it in a cab this evening by any chance, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
Okay.
But what I did was I looked up the internet, trying to be a good dog owner and everything else.
Yeah.
And they said,
you were looking up which end to feed, that kind of thing?
Yeah, obviously. Yes, much end it kicked. But,
he didn't mean that. He didn't mean that, people. He was just joking.
But please, listen. So they said if you're going out for maybe 4 or 5 hours to work or whatever,
right,
leave your dog and put the radio on Classic FM, and it will make it feel more comfortable and relaxed until you come home.
That sounds to make sense to me.
Yeah.
And?
Well, I'm more relaxed than my dog. I've been listening to Classic FM ever since.
Yeah.
And every time I come home, the dog's lying sleeping, and I'm listening to Classic FM,
right.
and I'm going, wow, that is so relaxing. So my dog has introduced me to Classic FM.
Right. Your dog's got better taste in music than you do.
Last thing, can I say one quickie last thing?
One more thing.
My music teacher in school, he played the William Tell Overture, the 1812 Overture by Tchaikovsky, and he always said to us, if you can't remember his name, remember Tchaikov mixture. And later, I can think of the William, I think I'm one of the few people who can listen to the 1812 Overture without thinking of the Lone Ranger. So, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it, Brendan.
Thank you.
An unsolicited testimonial for Classic FM. I think it's great. Like I said before, I like the one with the Tweety Bird one. Whatever that's called. You know, the Lark Ascending by, what's his name? Love that track. But it's just very, very relaxing. It is. If you want to chill out, then it'll be right up your alley. Cheers, Brendan. 0345 6060 973. Zara text, the best two Bowie albums are definitely from the 1970s. Hunky Dory and Ziggy Stardust, no contest. Is the wrong answer, Zara. How could you be so wrong? The correct answer is Aladdin Sane and Diamond Dogs. Let's have Nottingham. Helen.
Hi, Nick. Are you well?
I am very well, Helen. Thanks for asking.
Fab. So, we were driving back yesterday from the lovely Kingdom of Fife in Scotland, back home.
Oh, yes.
Here in Nottingham, and was listening to Rishi in Tunbridge Wells, ultimately saying I'm robbing from the poor and giving to the rich, which so I landed back here in sunny Gedling, and my Tory MP for Gedling, Tom Randall, had posted about his fabulous week he'd had around the borough and in Westminster. So I asked him, I said, listen, I'm a very conservative, you're doing these surgery, can I come in and ask you about levelling up? Because having heard from what the ex-Chancellor said today, quite concerned.
Yes.
So he has messaged me back, which he generally only messages me when I don't tag him in anything. It's just normally a bit of a nonsense. But he did respond with that the former Chancellor was explaining that Labour's funding formulas were skewed against poorer towns, and he did something about it. I mean, right. So I have that. I'm looking at the screenshot as I speak.
That is the exact opposite of the truth, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I've literally screenshot it. My response back, he's not responded to. He doesn't. He's very much one that waits for a Tory party political line to come out. For him
he needs to know what to say before he actually says it. Yeah, one of those.
But does that not speak volumes to you that my local MP, my local Tory MP, the Labour's funding formulas were skewed against poorer towns?
And they've only just managed to fix them, after a brief 12 years in power. Yeah.
Isn't that just... I'm absolutely horrified.
What actually horrifies me, Helen, is that you seem to spend a lot of time bothering, your local MP. I think that you better pack your bags, Helen, because you're on your way to Rwanda before you know it.
Well, he has got a bit of a bond with Priti Patel over...
You'll need sunscreen and your own sleeping bag. Be prepared to be ejected from this country at any given moment. You'll only be allowed carry-on luggage. That's just a fact. Now, I'm going to be back this evening for my normal show, as opposed to the normal abnormal shows, which I do on Friday and Saturday night. By the way, this show and the one on Friday gets stuck up the internet as a podcast. We take the news and the ads out, which means it takes less time to listen to, and you'll therefore save money on your electricity. and by this time next year, you'll have saved up enough to buy yourself a cardboard box to live in. You're welcome. Ask for it by name on an internet near you. Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. I'll be back at 10. Ian Payne is here at 4. But first, Clive Ball.
Nick, thank you. Coming up, as the Conservatives fight each other for this, 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 fight each other for this.
Có người lặng lẽ ngồi buồn, biển chiều hoang vắng mây